Yeah.
Seriously.
What do you guys think of this Colby Covington RDA fight this
I'm
weekend?
jacked for that.
Jacked
I
for
hope
that.
RDA busts him up.
Well, Colby's doing what you said you want to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Talking a lot of shit and getting a lot of people
I'm
paying
still
attention.
I feel like he's doing. I don't know. He's doing what he's doing. It's cool.
People are paying attention. Look,
Yeah.
For sure.
he beat Maya, which is a huge accomplishment, right? Maya's still an absolutely world-class fighter. But other than that, really hasn't beaten big-name guys, and he's fighting for the interim title. You got to think that a lot of that is because he's been very smart
sure.
with promotion.
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's good. Fuck. That's going to be a good
We'll be
fight.
yeah.
Who
We'll
do you
be in
have?
New Jersey for that.
I don't
you
have
have?
anybody, man. I'm in that same, what we just said. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
like the matchup, though, because Colby, first of all, Colby's not making 155 unless he cuts a fucking leg off.
Right.
He's a bigger guy. RDA was the 155-pound champion, so you have to think Colby's going to have a size advantage. Colby's a very good wrestler. He's relentless. And he managed to do something that very few people have been able to do with Maya, where he just overwhelmed him, beat him up standing, controlled where the fight took place, won a clear-cut decision, did it in Brazil, and did it after Woodley did it, and did it arguably better than Woodley did it.
Yeah.
You know, he was on top of Maya. He wasn't avoiding him in the way that Woodley did, but Woodley was injured in that fight. He hurt his shoulder like in the first round. But it was an impressive performance. I mean, if you go back and watch what Maya was able to do with like Rick Story, what Maya's been able to do with Matt Brown, Maya's a fucking monster. When he gets a hold of you, it's such next level jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And Colby was really never in trouble in that fight. So you have to look at that and you go, okay, well, obviously he has fantastic defense, solid wrestling base, can strike on the feet, and knows how to fight a grimy, nasty fight.
Yep.
And he's the bigger guy. But then you look at RDA, and RDA at lightweight was a fucking mauler, was just murking people, right? But then you look at him at welterweight and you're like, Jesus, he might be better at welterweight. Right. Look how good he looked against Neil Magny. Everybody struggles with Neil Magny. He smashed Neil Magny, took him down, leg kicked him, dropped him, get on top of him, strangle him. I mean, he beat the shit out of Robbie Lawler. That Robbie Lawler fight was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he just overwhelmed one of the best strikers in the welterweight division. Overwhelmed him from the outside with angles and technique.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man. It's very, very interesting. It's very interesting.
I'm so mad RDA and Connor never fought.
I know.
I was so jacked for that. That was one of the most exciting. I was so excited for that fight.
A lot. I can't imagine how you were feeling on this Wednesday before your return to the UFC. Not only because you're fighting in your hometown, that means so much to you, but because of what happened yesterday.
Yep.
Is it possible to even put into words what that victory meant for you? The fact that you won via unanimous decision, as your friend Colby Covington put it, against your former employer in the defamation lawsuit. What does that mean? The fact that you're finally vindicated after all these years, 4 years.
Man, yeah, I don't know if I have the words. I don't know if it would properly convey. I also don't know if I fully flushed out exactly how I feel. I do know it was probably the first time, maybe not the first time, but definitely, you know, one of 3 times or something like that where I actually lost control of my emotions. You know, I always try to stay pretty even keel and locked in the moment, but when you're waiting for a judge to utter words that literally decide the course of the rest of your life, and I didn't contemplate, well, what happens if I lose? Because losing wasn't an option, not because of any other reason except because I told the truth. But the legal system can be confusing, and having to have sat there for days and days and days and, you know, listen to the way they try to bend things to fit certain laws that are all just confusing and stuff that, I'm out of my element, and I'm just like sitting there just like scared out of my mind, and my wife is there, and I'm standing up and I'm looking at everybody, and all of a sudden, like, everything's just like, it's happening, it's funny, we were eating lunch, and we were just eating lunch. I didn't know if it was gonna get figured out that day, or if they're gonna order dinner and stay late, or if they're gonna go home, come back the next day. I had no guarantees, so we were just down the street, like, eating lunch, and I wasn't eating, everybody else was eating, and I was just like sitting there. So I got up to go get a coffee, And then I got a text from April. It said, verdict's in. And I was just like, whoa, okay. And the only thing I can compare it to was sitting in a locker room and somebody comes and gets me and they're like, it's time to walk, you know? And I'm walking down the street and my entire team of lawyers is just these badass women. So I go, my wife's there, and there's 3 lawyers, and I go, ladies, I go, and I know you didn't ask, I go, but this is what walking to the cage to fight another human being feels like. And this is it. This is exactly it. You're walking. Did I do everything? Did these people do everything in their power to make sure that I'm fully prepared for what's about to happen? And then, you know, getting in there, and it's just like, part of you's like, come on, let's go, and part of you's like, oh, hold on, and then you're doing this, and you know. And they read Scott's verdict first, and they found him unanimously in his favor. And I was just like, that was my main goal, you know. I walk through life and I try to shield the ones I love. And he was, you know, I thought the whole thing was frivolous, but like, you know me, I was like, well, leave this guy alone. What do you know, whatever. But, and then they read the verdict and I lost it. And April came out of nowhere and, you know, and hugged me. And I didn't know what to do. I knew it was good news, but I didn't know, okay, so what happens next? I didn't know what to do. I was just, man, I'm sick of being scared about it. I'm sick of worried about it. I'm sick of crying about it. And it was just, there's nothing I could do to stop it. Just pure emotion. Boom. And then to hear her cry, and she's sobbing about it, and she's just like, I'm so happy for you. And I'm like, I'm happy for us. I really feel like I can finally get on and move on and continue with the rest of my life. Something that I've been trying to do since 2013.
Speaking of fake news, you mentioned our president, Donald Trump, and that ruffled some feathers as well. Do you feel like you are sort of, you know, representing that section of our country? It's been a very divisive time in our country. Do you feel like you're getting some hate, but also a lot of support from perhaps fans of his, Republicans, things like that? Was that a smart thing to do? Michael Jordan one time said, you know, Republicans buy sneakers too. So usually athletes stay away from that sort of thing. What kind of reaction are you getting?
You know, I'm getting a good reaction. It's a little mixed. Obviously, the liberals are real mad at me, but, you know, I don't really care. This isn't the feelings business. This is the fight business. I'm all about Trump. I want to go bring the belt to the Oval Office and put it on his desk, you know. This is how ironic that today is the celebration of D-Day, you know, the day we invaded the shores of Normandy and took out the Nazis. So, you know, just like they did, I'm going to take the fight to this filthy animal, and there's no surrender.
So that is your plan? You know, that's been also a hot topic. The Philadelphia Eagles had their invitation rescinded. Golden State Warriors were uninvited. You win this belt, you'd like to go see the president in Washington and have a photo op with him.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a complete joke. The Philadelphia Eagles suck. The Golden State Warriors, they suck. I mean, what a joke. You know, you live in America. You're fed by silver spoons. You guys are a complete joke to American society. Yeah, you guys want to express your First Amendment and free speech, but, you know, you stand for this flag. You stand for the troops, the women and men that were brave and put their lives on the line so you guys could have your freedoms today. So I definitely want to bring the belt to the White House and see Trump.
Your promoter, Dana White, he has a good relationship with Mr. Trump, right? He spoke at the convention on his behalf. Have you pitched this idea to him? Maybe he could call him up probably. He has him on his cell phone.
Yeah, that's the plan. After Saturday night, I'm going to have a talk with Mr. Dana White, and I'm going to tell him to bring me to the office. I want to go say some words to the greatest living American, the leader of the free world.
What's the security scene like here? Do you feel like you need extra security, or because we're in the United States, has it been, you know, less than what would have been in Brazil?
No, the security's they got great security for me. You know, as you can see, you know, I got security all around me. You know, I'm at a separate host hotel, so it's been great. The UFC's taking great care of me. I got Reed Harris, who's been taking me around, driving me around, keeping me away from all the drama. So I thanks to the UFC for protecting me from all the filthy animals.
Any concerns at all?
No concerns.
What was your reaction when you found out about Fabricio Verdum's news?
I think it was, what comes around goes around. The boomerang that he tried to throw at me, came around and knocked him out in London. He was unconscious, and then, USADA came and woke him up, and, he tested positive for steroids like the filthy animal that he is.
I've seen you talk about steroids and Rafael dos Anjos. Do you believe that he is using steroids?
I truly believe that he is using steroids. He had a career where early in his career, he didn't look anything like how he looked at one point in his career right before he got the belt. His body completely changed. I mean, he had a lot of dramatic changes in his body, and he just became a completely different fighter. And I've heard from a lot of fighters from Brazil that said that he had a cycle where he was able to spin the blood and put in clean blood. So I know he's done steroids. I've got insider information.
You feel like in this fight he will be on steroids?
I do believe he will be on steroids in this fight, but it's not going to make a difference.
Doesn't bother you at all?
Doesn't bother me. I'll beat the steroids out of him in round 1. I'll knock him out in round 2.